Hello, Aries, and welcome to my channel, Tarot by Gabrielle. This is going to be a general reading for Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus signs, looking at your recent past, your current energy, and your immediate future, answering the question, what do you need to know right now in order to move forward in alignment with your higher self? As always, I've gone ahead and pulled the overall energy for the reading and clarified those messages, which we'll jump into in just a second. I have the tarot deck that we'll be using already shuffled, as well as the decks that I'll be using in the extended. Any information on the extended reading or on booking a personal reading with me is in the description box below. Last thing, please remember these are general readings. They are not here to resonate fully for everyone, and they won't resonate fully for everyone. So do remember to take what does resonate and helps your personal situation, and leave what does not. All right, Aries, in your recent past, you have Tower with Catch Your Breath. I feel like this Tower, it could have happened in your recent past for some of you, but I actually feel like this Tower could have been further back. This could have been something that happened not necessarily in your recent past, but you've been kind of recovering from in your recent past. Because with this Catch Your Breath card, it's almost like, this Tower happened, and it was almost like this energy of waiting for the dust to settle, like waiting for it to become like clear how to move forward. Because sometimes we can feel like we're not moving forward fast enough after something's happened, or we're not rebuilding fast enough, or whatever the case is. And sometimes we kind of just, like the card says, have to catch our breath and just like refocus, recenter, get our, ducks in a row, if you will, before we can move forward. Now, in your current energy, you have breakthrough with the Fool in reverse. So I feel like you're kind of coming to some clarity now about how to move forward since this Tower has happened. Now, you haven't quite hit a new beginning because the Fool is in reverse. You're still kind of in this in-between period between kind of this Tower and then, which we'll see, you have the Wheel of Fortune. So things falling apart, then things kind of moving forward in your favor. So you're kind of in this in-between of maybe, still kind of doing some healing, gaining some clarity, trying to understand what happened, and, maybe even gaining a little bit of your power back so that you can move forward. Now, then in your immediate future, and I really like this message for you guys, you have renewal of peace with the Wheel of Fortune. So I feel like this is almost like I don't want to say gaining back what you've lost, because I don't necessarily feel like this is anything from your past coming back. But it's almost like getting back to a place of stability and, like it says, peace, and starting to actually see things working in your favor. Because I feel like a lot of things really didn't go your way. You've been trying to recover from that, and I feel like this is about things, this wheel kind of starting to turn in your favor after a long period of healing and, making peace with your past and things of that nature. So let's start, Aries, by looking at your recent past. You have Catch Your Breath with the Tower. This is recent past for Aries. Oops. There we go. Okay. Recent past for Aries, please. I'm going to do one more, because that first was a little funky. Recent past for Aries, please. Clarifying Catch Your Breath with the Tower. Okay. The universe is asking you to look at what has happened from a little bit of a higher perspective. When we're in the middle of it, especially when we're in the thick of kind of recovering from a Tower, it can feel, our worst case scenarios can feel very validated, right? Like our worst fears can feel as if they're coming true. Well, I just lost this relationship. That means I'm going to be alone forever. I'm never going to find love. This, job that I had planned didn't work out. Now that means I'm going to end up homeless and unable to take care of myself or my family financially. When we experience these Towers, a lot of times it can feel as if the worst is happening. But in reality, I don't feel like this Tower was a validation of your fear as much as it was, it could have been, but in addition to that, or instead of looking at it that way, trying to understand that sometimes things have to happen so that good things can take place in our life. Sometimes things have to go one way so that we can open the door for the positive. And of course, it's hard to feel that when we're in it, but the universe is asking you at the higher here to zoom out your perspective a little bit and try to understand why things maybe had to happen the way that they did. Recent past for Aries. There we go. Recent past for Aries, please. Recent past for Aries, please. Ace of Wands in reverse. Seven of Wands. I feel like you lost a lot of your power in your recent past, Aries. And you know what? That's okay. We all go through things that take away our power. We all go through situations where we doubt ourselves, we doubt our truths, we doubt what it is that we're deserving of. And I do feel like this recent past, through your recent past, through the recovery of this tower, a lot of that kind of took place, you know, trying to regain maybe even a sense of self or regain a sense of self-worth if you were in, you know, maybe a relationship that took that away from you for a long time. And sometimes what I've learned is that when our worth is put into question and when we lose our sense of power and our sense of self, usually that happens so that we can gain it back tenfold. You know, some of the hardest times in our life can be the catalyst for some of the greatest times in our life. Now, when you're going through that, that's probably not what you want to hear, right? You're not necessarily wanting to hear like, oh, everything's happening for you, not to you. But, you know, sometimes that can be a little glimmer of hope when we're going through tough times. So I do feel like you lost a little bit of strength, of power, maybe even confidence in your recent past. But I feel like, again, it was all to help you kind of gain it back tenfold so that you can move forward in ways you never would have been able to if that hadn't have happened. Recent past for Aries, please. I also feel like your recent past wasn't really a time for action. It wasn't really a time for making any moves or for you know, trying to fix what happened. It was kind of just a time, again, like I said at the beginning, to let the dust settle with this Ace of Wands in reverse. Now, I feel like you were feeling very unsecure in your recent past. Not insecure necessarily, sure, possibly, but what I mean by unsecure is your sense of safety was put into question. Am I going to be okay financially? Am I going to be alone forever? Am I going to be loved, or am I going to be supported again? Or is it just me for the rest of my life? You know, there's all of the ways that our safety can be put into question when big changes happen in our life. And that's definitely what this tower talks about, is big emotionally charged events that do kind of adjust the course of our life a little bit. But that's exactly what it's supposed to do. It's not that you've lost your potential of happiness, or you've lost safety, or you've lost belonging. It's that it's whatever falls apart wasn't meant for us anymore, and is typically happening so that better can take place, better can be rebuilt. And through rebuilding, we gain back that confidence that we lost in ways that can be kind of surprising. All right, let's shift gears here to your current energy, Aries. You have breakthrough with the Fool in reverse. This current energy for Aries, please. Current energy for Aries. One more. This is for Aries. Current energy, please. Breakthrough with the Fool in reverse. Current energy for Aries. Look at that Wheel of Fortune. Oh my gosh, yeah. Literally, this is what... Oh my gosh. Okay, so there's that tower. And there's the Wheel of Fortune, right? Which we already have. And then you have the Ten of Swords. Ten of Swords with the tower. And then the Wheel of Fortune. This painful situation, things seemingly falling apart, the loss of what you thought was going to be in your life forever, the pain associated with that. It had to happen for this Wheel of Fortune, like we see in your future, to take place. Really, seriously, I have seen this in my own life. I've seen this in the lives of other people. Sometimes it really is darkest before dawn. Sometimes things, you know, leave our life so that our energy opens up for new positive experiences can take place. And sometimes we don't, you know, we're not able to see that because we're so caught up in what we thought was going to be. But when we go through painful situations, the more that we can understand that It doesn't mean that we're going to be stuck in that energy forever. First and foremost, everything is temporary, whether it's positive or negative. And then second of all, that it's probably happening for a reason. Now, no, not every loss or every negative, painful experience is a lesson. Sometimes it is just a tragedy. But in this instance, whatever this tower is, it's clearly saying the tower and the pain associated set you up for this wheel of fortune. The bad happened so that the good could take place. And again, you're kind of in between right now, right? You're in between what has happened and what is coming. And right now is just a time to allow yourself to work through that pain, allow yourself to work through all of the emotions associated, the confusion, the uncertainty, the lack of or loss of, identity or sense of self worth or whatever the case is. Allow yourself to work through those things, but then understand, also hold space for the fact that there are good things coming. We can both work through our past pain without letting it take us down the rabbit hole of, my whole life is now just going to suck, or my whole life's now just going to be pain because of this, whatever happened. We can hold space for our past and our future at the same time. And when we learn to do that, that's when we learn to kind of embrace the journey as a whole and understand that sometimes things fall apart so that better things can come together for us. And that's very clearly what this reading is saying. I mean, especially with this message. All right, current energy for Aries. Because again, you have this renewal of peace. It's like all you're looking for is a sense of peace again, a sense of stability, security. Current energy for Aries. I remember when I was going through kind of my worst time, all I was craving was a sense of predictability. I was like, I just want to have a routine. I just want my days to feel like predictable in a way. Because sometimes when we go through situations that put us in uncertainty, it can be really scary when we don't really know what we're doing or what's going to be next for us. And so trying to find a sense of security and a routine, or tapping into whatever you can that is predictable or that you do have control over is really important. You are going through some pretty intense self-doubt right now with the Seven of Wands in reverse. I feel like this situation heavily made you question yourself. Maybe you were involved in a relationship and someone turned out not to be who you thought they were. And now you're like, well, I can't trust myself, I do feel like you're having a hard time in general, just trusting yourself and your decisions moving forward because of how things maybe took place in your recent past. But I don't necessarily feel like, I also don't think, just based on what I know about life, that you're going to be stuck in this energy forever. Sometimes we got to doubt ourselves to learn to trust ourselves, right? If you don't question your faith, it's never going to be stronger. So don't think that if you're doubting yourself right now that you really do have anything to doubt, but understand that sometimes when we're in the midst of change and life is throwing, these crazy uncertainties at us, that it's going to be natural to doubt yourself. But through that self-doubt, we build this confidence of, I've been through it. I've got through that. I feel like Aries, once you can get through this, you're going to be able to be like, if I can get through that, I can get through anything. And then that almost brings back a sense of inner peace. In general, just knowing that if you can get through, what you've been through, then you can get through anything. I know it's kind of a cliche, but there is that saying or quote that's like, you have survived 100% of your worst days. You have survived 100% of the things that you thought you were never going to make it through. And not only have you survived, but you probably created better from a lot of those experiences. So remembering that, again, everything is temporary. Yeah, you're going through a tough time, and you have been going through a tough time, but you're on the verge of a breakthrough here. And this breakthrough, I feel like, is what's really going to start to turn this wheel in your favor. Current energy for Aries. Current energy for Aries. Yeah, you're working through some pain. The Three of Swords. But it's so interesting how these messages are coming through, because you have this Three of Swords and then you have this Ace of Pentacles and Nine of Pentacles. It's really like it's saying what's coming towards you this Wheel of Fortune, this Ace of Pentacles, this wish fulfillment, it wouldn't have been possible if you weren't experiencing this pain that you have been experiencing. So, and look, there's the Ten of Pentacles and there's that Wheel of Fortune right there. And it's almost like with the Five of Pentacles in reverse, if you can get through this, which you can get through this, but if you can get through this in a healthy way, it's almost like you won't even look at what happened as a loss. You won't see it as something that happened to you anymore. You'll start to see it as something that happened for you. So embrace where you're at with the faith that everything is going to be okay. And I feel like in the future, you're going to be able to look back and say, I get it. I get why I had to be in that moment. I get why I had to experience that kind of pain and uncertainty and doubt in myself, because that's the dichotomy of life, right? Like we can't experience only good and we're not going to experience only bad. The good is always going to balance out the bad and vice versa. Life is an up and down roller coaster. But the more that we learn to embrace each and every moment for what it is, the more that we get to fully invest in our life and be completely present and enjoy every single little moment for what it is. So trying to accept that where you're at right now is not where you're going to be forever, and that the more that you can move through it, trying to learn the lessons that you need to learn, heal what you need to heal, see what you need to see. The only good can come from that, which I feel like we're going to see in your immediate future. So this is immediate future for Aries, a renewal of peace with the Wheel of Fortune. Immediate future for Aries, clarifying renewal of peace with the Wheel of Fortune, please. One more. This is immediate future for Aries, please. Immediate future for Aries, please. There you are, the Queen of Wands. Justice in reverse. Oh, I get it. Okay. Do I need one more? No, okay. I understand. You have spent a lot of your life in this Justice in reverse energy. Getting the short end of the stick, feeling, for lack of a better word, maybe screwed over, or like you're never chosen, or you're not the lucky one. You never get the prize, right? Sometimes we have to learn that, how do I put this? When we start taking accountability for the things that we have been through and the decisions that we made and the beliefs that we had that led us to certain outcomes, we start realizing how much power we actually really do have in our life. For instance, if you were, say, in a relationship with someone who didn't treat you well, it's really easy to say, yeah, that person didn't treat me well. They did this to me, they did that to me. It's not so easy to say, but I continued to invest in that situation. I continued to allow it to happen. I didn't walk away. I was afraid. I felt like I didn't have a choice, whatever the case is. Now, that's not saying it's your fault, because what has happened to you, your trauma, the painful experiences you go through, it is never your fault. However, when you can start to take accountability for the decisions that you made that led to that outcome, you start to realize the patterns that exist, the limiting beliefs that exist. For instance, a lot of people who stay in those types of relationships that don't serve them, that don't treat them well, they don't feel lovable, they don't feel deserving. And those feelings of being unlovable and undeserving probably stem from experiences in childhood, and that's not their fault, right? But the only person who can save you or fix you or heal you is you, right? And the more that you start to take your life back and take your power back, the more you will start to watch that wheel turn in your favor. Hope that makes sense. Okay, immediate future for Aries. Pick that deck up backwards. Immediate future for Aries. Immediate future for Aries, please. The Eight of Cups with the Ten of Pentacles. Again, it's like leaving behind what didn't serve you and leaving behind the past, walking away from situations and people that don't align with what you're deserving of. That's how you create your 10 of Pentacles here. Is there a card that's flipped over? Yeah, there is. What is it? Oh, it's you again. Queen of Wands. Is there more? No, just that one. I think I put that on the deck backwards and then shuffled it. But walking away from situations that align with, like, it's like, okay, there was a version of you that invested in something that led to a tower, right? And that version of you had other people and situations that it was attracting into your life. So for instance, if you don't feel deserving of love, you probably don't feel deserving of financial abundance. So if you're staying in a relationship that doesn't treat you well, you're probably staying in a job that doesn't treat you well, right? Like these situations apply to a lot of different aspects of our life. So tower moments can sometimes be looked at as like a domino effect, because when something big falls apart and we learn, the lesson from it, where you start to realize, I am more deserving, I am more powerful, then other aspects of your life start to change because of that. It's kind of that concept of a spiritual awakening, right? Is you have this awakening, you realize you're deserving of more in one area of life, and then that feeling starts to be implemented in a lot of different areas of your life. So for instance, when I kind of went through that process, having an intense tower moment, waking up to what my worth really is, how powerful I really am, I started losing people in my life that didn't align with me anymore. I started losing situations that just didn't serve me like they used to. And sometimes we don't realize that one situation is trying to wake us up to the fact that we are deserving of better in all areas of our life. And so it kind of feels like this is where, the lesson goes deeper than just this one situation. This isn't just about love. This isn't just about your career. This is talking about how when you feel undeserving in one area, when you feel not good enough in one area, when you feel not capable enough in one area, you probably have those feelings and are seeing that being reflected back at you in a lot of different areas. And so in order for you to create your 10 of Pentacles, you've got to take what you've learned from this tower, apply it to all aspects of your life, walk away from what doesn't serve you anymore so that you can open your energy for what does. So that's what your immediate future is about. Aligning, walking away from what doesn't serve you and choosing what does, right? I saw a quote before I did the Leo reading, so I mentioned it in the Leo reading too, which was the one before this, but I saw it on, I think it was Instagram, and I really, really liked it. It's kind of cliche, but it said, figure out what life you want to live. Figure out what you want your life to look like in all areas, your relationships, your career, your financial situation, whatever the case is. Figure out what you want your life to look like, and then say no to everything that doesn't align with that. To every situation that does not align with the life you want to live, start, weeding it out of your life. Because the more that you let go of what aligned with a past version of you, the more that you can step into a new version of you. And it's hard. I don't want to sit here saying, I'm not going to sit here saying it's easy at all. And sometimes you go through periods of feeling very lonely. Sometimes you go through periods of feeling very afraid and unsure. But those periods are all setting you up for the good, the wheel turning in your favor, this renewal of peace, which I feel like is what you're wanting. Immediate future for Aries. One more for Aries, immediate future, please. One more for Aries, immediate future. I love that. The Seven of Cups with the Lovers. Sometimes things are going to feel overwhelming and uncertain, right? We just kind of talked about that. But as long as your decisions align with what you know you're deserving of, then you're going to be just fine. And sometimes knowing what you're deserving of and making the decision that aligns with that is the hardest decision to make. So when you're feeling overwhelmed and unsure and you're second guessing yourself and you're doubting whether or not you're capable or whether or not you're making the right decisions or doing the right thing, ask yourself, am I aligning with my worth? Am I choosing to believe in the best version of myself? Am I choosing to believe in the most abundant version of myself? Am I putting my faith in the universe? And if you can say yes to that, then you're doing just fine. And the more that you align your decisions with your worth, and that again, that includes walking away from what doesn't serve you too, right? But the more that you align your decisions with with your worth, the more you get in alignment with the abundance that you're looking to create. And that abundance that you're looking to create can come in so many different forms that are going to be unexpected to you, rather than when you were trying to control it and search for it in situations that didn't serve you. All right, Aries, this reading was all about what you need to know right now. The extended is going to be about what you need to do right now in order to move forward and align with your higher self. So we're going to look at clarification and advice on these messages, and then I have an actual advice card to pull at the end. Thank you so much, Aries, as always, for your support of my channel. I do hope that this reading helped and resonated with you in a way that you were needing today. And as always, I wish you nothing but love and healing on your journey moving forward. Bye, Aries.